they say when you going to a meeting, when you're on time, you're actually late. So you need to be early for a meeting. So be there on time. If your meeting is 1 o'clock, be there at 1 o'clock. It's even more important when you do it online, because if it's a coffee shop, somebody can still drink a cup of coffee and wait for about 5 or 10 minutes for you if that happens. But online, it's somebody's actually sitting at the watching at the screen and sitting there for 5 or 10 minutes, which is a very good point. And especially with mobile phones, you can very easily drop the screen like from year to year. And I've done it as well when I'm on my mobile phone sometimes, and it's actually very annoying for the other person. So it's even more important now with doing online meetings that you actually focus on that specific person that you're speaking to. But I found as well, like you said, you recording the client meetings. I found that it's a good replacement for minutes of the meetings. The other thing that's on here as well is your actual whiteboard. Something that I really like about it.
So I use it quite often when I'm doing my presentations. So if I share my screen, then you can see over here.
The thing that I found was actually better is actually do a generic automatically ID creation. And then from there, every time you create a new meeting, the ID actually changes. So then you can log in, and if Heinrich need to come up after this meeting, he can only come onto that meeting if I actually or see me actually when I get in that specific ID room. Yeah. So and then lastly, what we've done today as well, you can live stream this specific meeting through Facebook. I think Workplace is also part of Facebook thing, and then also YouTube.
I think there's two things. If you have bigger type of meetings where maybe you've got 10 people or 12 people on a meeting, is to assign one person to be the driver of the meeting itself. And then the second thing is to have somebody on standby for technical support.
Thank you for watching. Just a quick reminder to grab your gift pack for entrepreneurs in the link below. It's a gift pack for entrepreneurs to the value of 57,000 Rand, free of charge. All you need to do is activate it. Part of that gift pack for entrepreneurs is a voucher of 3 months for 3 months free accounting services from a company, Dryk Holdings. All you need to do is activate the gift pack voucher in the link below, and we will be in contact with you as soon as you've done that. And I invited one of my very good friends, Heinrich. He's an accountant in Fishhoek. So I'm not going to give you the whole story. He can also give you some of everything. But yeah, I think both of us are more or less on the same journey. We all both have a passion for SMEs. We both have a passion of giving a lot of value out into the world. So a lot of our principles and goals are pretty much the same, and we really support each other in that. And something that I really believe in is you don't have to be jealous or envious about your competition, because in fact we are both doing exactly the same thing, but we haven't at all felt like it's competition. It's really a journey, and we are in a world of abundance, and we can just enjoy every part of that. So I'm not. The most of people on the Facebook that knows me know exactly what I'm doing. So I'm going to hand over to Heinrich that he can properly introduce himself.
Yeah, and thanks, Jasper. Thanks for having me on your Facebook page today and to have a chat with you today regarding this online meetings and stuff like that. So I've also been I've been in the accounting industry, I think, since about 2008. So I've been around the block a couple of times. And I think I moved down from Johannesburg down to Fishhoek about 6 years ago. And at that stage, because the way that we do business has changed a lot in the last 10 years. I think if I had to do the same thing 10 years ago, I wouldn't be able to do it because the technology just wasn't available. But these days I can sit in my office in Fishhoek and I can have meetings with anybody, anywhere. That doesn't even need to be anywhere close to me. I actually had a conversation with a guy from Australia about 2 weeks ago, and he's got 2 shops in KwaZulu-Natal, just north of Durban. So that's so the world has become a very small place when it comes to online meetings and using platforms like Zoom and stuff like that. And I think that is obviously the talk that we're going to talk about, because I think a lot of small businesses, whether they like it or not, they have to into this world of online meetings and how to do online meetings and so on. So I think yeah, it's nice just to come and share some of our knowledge with you. And I think between the two of us, we've got quite a bit of experience. So I don't think we know everything yet, but I think we've got more than enough to share to be able to point people in the right direction if they want to start off doing online meetings and just practical things that you have to do when you start working on Zoom and stuff like that. You know, even Zoom, Google Hangouts, Skype, there's so many different platforms that you can use. But at our office, we mainly use Zoom for client meetings, and I'm sure that you guys also use Zoom for most of your meetings.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's actually quite a number of, I suppose, a lot of people that will actually watch this Facebook Live today is some of the guys that actually introduced me to with Zoom a few years ago. So a lot of my network marketing clients that's also on Facebook that might be watching right now. If you have any valuable information on there, please share it with us. I mean, we're not here to try to preach or anything. We're here just to try to add value of the knowledge that we have. But if you have any suggestions regarding Zoom or online remotely work meetings, please share it with us. This is an open conversation. The more you speak to us, the more we can learn as well. So yeah, I think this is not an interview with me interviewing Heinrich or other way around. It's really just a nice chat and conversation, and we will share as much as we can on working on Zoom. And like you said, I think the world the last 3 weeks realized that they need to be able to work remotely. They need to be able to take their business online. So if you haven't taken your business online yet, I think this is a very good time to actually start looking at ways to add value online and add value through your business, and can just in the beginning be adding of value, and it can become something a lot more. It can become a next business stream of income. So just open yourself to this new technology and this new world of where we're going into. I mean, there's no turning around of the old ways. We need to look at all the new online ways. So if you're watching, just shout out, just wave to us, just comment, just say where you are from, or where you're listening from or watching from. We would really want to talk together with you and not to you. I think that's the idea of today, right?
Yeah, I can see there's some of our friends who are really online, also busy watching. So there's a quick shout out to Andre Mostert, to Noreen McKenzie, thanks for joining us. Sheldon van der Merwe, Jelle Humphries. There's all some of my old friends who's busy watching us as well today. And yeah, so I think just a couple of things, quite interesting things that I came across, I would say, in the last week of people who started going online, and just interesting things. I spoke to somebody yesterday that does guitar lessons. So he's a music teacher, and obviously now with the lockdown he couldn't teach, and he said that he was forced now to take his business online. And he was just sharing that I think he's already done maybe about 3 or 4 online lessons. With some of his classes using Zoom as well, where they just do guitar lessons with the people. And one of my clients that was very interesting this morning. So they offer photographers, and so he does street photography. So what he's done now is he's done online. He does an online photo shoot with you. So you contact him. He said that you need to contact him on Zoom, preferably on his cell phone, because it's got a better resolution camera than most of your webcams. And then they will tell you where to position your phone. And then while you're doing stuff, they actually take screenshots of you while you're busy doing it. And then they're going to edit the pictures and stuff, and they send you like a whole photo album of photos that they did in the photo session. So it's amazing the stuff that people come up with, and I think that is what makes it exciting. That people start thinking a bit out the box. Just it's not just a normal type of stuff. And even if you can do photography via Zoom, then that's next level.
And you can do anything. I think it's a good example, because I think a lot of people that I speak to, their reply to me is, I can't take my business online. I can't change my way of doing business. And I think it's really just a way of, and yeah, certain things you can't do. You can't take a vehicle and do something online in the sense of selling it, but actual sale of it. But you can do a lot of work around that give you online presence. I'm not talking about, and this might be a conversation for another day, but I'm not talking about just selling in the short time, but it's really adding value, giving value to your clients and attract them to actually buy a vehicle from you, or whatever the case may be. So I think that is, and that's the great thing about technology these days. We can, if you just start being open to using some of these tools and giving value through using them, you can attract a lot of great business and great community through that.
Yeah, for sure. So I think yes, Jasper, you go.
No, go for it.
Now, so we were talking before the time of what we actually want to achieve with the video, and one of the things that we said is we possibly want to share some tips, just of practically how to go about setting up a Zoom meeting, stuff that you need to look at before you actually start with the meeting, especially if you want to meet new clients. I think there's a bit of a checklist that you have to go through to make sure, because the problem is you only have one chance to make a first impression on somebody. So if you do it wrong, then you're out the bus. So we need to make sure that we tick the boxes when it comes to just the basic setup of how to do a Zoom meeting and those type of things. I think that is one of the things that we want to touch on quickly as well. Any tips you want to give there, Jasper?
Yeah, I think it's these two things. I think it's the tips and the ethics around using Zoom, because I think there's a lot of things that we can discuss around that, and things I think both of us noticed as well by using it frequently. And then also like you said, the actual tools of sharing documents, sharing a whiteboard that you can actually draw some pictures on, etc. And like you said, actually doing the meeting, arranging the meetings, and know exactly how to use it. How do your ID actually fit in? Because there's also sometimes overlap and the issue with that. So I think let's start with some ethics around it, and we can get to the practical in a moment, in the second part of that. So it doesn't matter. We'll start. One thing that I seen the last 2 weeks a lot was specifically about, they say when you going to a meeting, when you're on time, you're actually late. So you need to be early for a meeting. So be there on time. If your meeting is 1 o'clock, be there at 1 o'clock. It's even more important when you do it online, because if it's a coffee shop, somebody can still drink a cup of coffee and wait for about 5 or 10 minutes for you if that happens. But online, it's somebody's actually sitting watching at the screen and sitting there for 5 or 10 minutes, and 5 or 10 minutes can get very long if you just sit and wait there. So I think something to be very aware of, just ethical wise, is to make sure if you're not early, you're late.
Yeah, and I think the other thing as well, especially if you will be doing the meeting or hosting the meeting, is to make sure that you're properly prepared as well. I've gone into meetings as well where people start the meeting and you can see that they haven't done their preparation work properly. They haven't got the information ready, so they have to go look around on their computer while they have to sit and wait for them to find the information you need. So I think especially if you're recording the meeting and you want to present something to the people, is just to make sure that you've got all your stuff ready before the time. Like if you want to present slides to the people, or in our case, if you want to talk about financial statements and stuff, it's always a good thing to make sure that you've got all those screens open on your computer, so that when the time comes when you have to start sharing the information with the people, that if you press share screen, that you don't need to go sit and search around on your computer and waste people's time through that as well. So yeah, I think it's just your preparation. You need to make sure that you're prepared before the time, because the people pick it up if you're not prepared.
No, definitely, I agree with you. Another thing regarding the meetings is, but actually now I'm actually blank. I was listening to you so carefully that I forgot what I wanted to say. That's right. So another thing that I picked up a lot, and that's also what making a lot of people late for their meeting is, let's say at 1 o'clock or a few minutes after 1, they would want to quickly get into the app and quickly log into the meeting, and then all of a sudden they find, but the video option doesn't work, the sound doesn't work. and it's almost a 10 to 15 minutes, sometimes a struggle to get the meeting going, and then you need to log off to the meeting again because you need to attend a new meeting. So that's sometimes also very frustrating. If you, I think if you do need to attend a meeting, make sure that everything works, that your sound and everything is on and correct.
Yeah.
Are there any comments or questions on there?
Yeah, I see one of the comments here, Michael Smith, is saying that to set the ground rules at the beginning of the meeting, especially ask people to mute their microphones when they are not busy talking. So I think that's a good thing that we've also picked up, especially with bigger type of meetings. You know, if you've got maybe 10 people on a meeting or so, and each one of those people's got a background voice going in the back, then you just can't hear each other. So normally if you do like presentations and you've got a meeting with a group of people, just right from the beginning, just tell the guys, listen, while I'm busy speaking, let's mute all the microphones, and then afterwards you give the people opportunity for questions and answers. I think for one-on-one meetings it's not that relevant because there's not so much the disturbance, but for bigger meeting, I think that is definitely something that's a very good point that you brought up there, Michael. Thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. It's one of our clients that moved to Malta, so I'm very jealous about him staying in Malta. But hi, Michael. Thank you for watching. I think it's a very good point. I've been on quite a number of like uplifting, inspirational kind of webinars as well. I know the two of us have been on there something as similar as well. But I've been on one that's been all over the world. So it's been a community of a lot of people from all over the world. And when it tends to get a lot of people on there, like now, I'm speaking and I've got a block around my screen to show that I'm actually speaking. But if there's a lot of noise or barking or anything that will come from my screen, it will start jumping from both sides. And when you get a lot of various people on this call, and the more it's actually getting a mess. And that's what happened with one of our calls that's been international, is that all of a sudden, some of the people were on the airport and some people were in coffee shops. And so it was like it's going like the thumbnails are like going all over the place and you can't even hear anything. So I agree with you. Put everything on mute, and almost like the rule with us was raise your hand when you want to speak, and then you can unmute and the host can actually organize it. So if there's a lot of people, get one person to actually be the host just to organize everything. And then you can almost raise your hand and just unclick your mic, and then you can speak, and then you can mute it again. So I think that's a handy tip. And Michael, thank you for the insight and for the tips from your side as well.
Yeah, I think that is where the chat function is also quite nice, because if you've got a big meeting, you can tell the people if they've got questions, just put it into the chat box itself, and then afterwards, once you're done with the presentation, you can go through those questions and just answer them one by one, instead of you having to stop every time and the people forgetting about their questions. So I think it's a good function to use, as well as the little chat box on the side. Yeah, I think one thing that I've picked up as well, but just a practical tip that I've seen in the past as well, especially for business meetings. Let's say, for instance, for me as an accountant, I need to contact a client, and we may be going to be talking about a financial statement and stuff. Then I think is always make sure that you're using the right tool for the meeting that you want to do. So if I'm phoning a client and I want to discuss financial statements with them, and that guy's sitting with his little cell phone like this to try and figure out what they're explaining on the screen, then I don't think it always works that well. So I think, if you're just phoning up a family member and just checking with your mom to see if she's all right, then I think your cell phone is fine. But as soon as it comes to business meetings, then I think it's important that you need to at least have a decent setup with the computer, so we can share screen and see the picture that the other person is sharing with you on a bigger platform. Otherwise you're going to have to sit almost like with binoculars to try and figure out what's going on the screen.
I think, again, and it's a very good point, and especially with mobile phones, you can very easily drop the screen like from year to year. And I've done it as well when I'm on my mobile phone sometimes, and it's actually very annoying for the other person. So as I'm doing it, I realize I'm being an annoying person right now. But it's very important to, if you start your meeting like this, hold your phone on a certain place, or let it stand on a certain place, and they don't fill up and down with your screen and with your face in and out of the camera. it's quite annoying. I actually laughed. Heinrich done on his YouTube channel, Accounting Network. He's done a video exactly on this subject on Zoom meetings and ethics. It was actually explaining. It was a very good part of the of the video, is actually explaining how somebody sometimes you even see somebody's nostril up in the screen because they like in the screen. So especially when you're not working on a laptop, and you can like sit like we're sitting now a bit away from the screen. People tend to, when you sit with a cell phone, it's like sitting in front of the cell phone like this, and then it's like it just feels a bit probably intimidating or something. I don't know, but it just feels wrong, and
Yeah.
you can't really get a feel of somebody's body language or anything from there.
Yeah. Yeah, they say it's always a good tip when you're doing a meeting with somebody that they can at least see the top half of your body, because then you can see what you're sitting with your hands and your arms. And if I'm sitting and speaking like this to you the whole time, then you ain't got a clue what I'm actually busy doing. So it's a good thing to show them this. And I think, when it comes to ethics as well, is to make sure that you give the person that you're speaking to your full attention. Because if Jasper is busy talking to me and I'm busy here on the computer, busy looking at something over here, then I think that's really disrespectful to the person that's doing the meeting with you. Or otherwise, you grab your phone and you start scrolling through your phone over here while you're busy with the meeting. So I think it's just more practical things that people don't think about. They think that they're on a normal phone where people can't see them. I think that's the barrier that they need to break, is to make sure, or that just to realize that actually the other person needs to answer you. And for you just to be engaged, so even we were talking about the thumbnails that pops up like that the whole time. So if you are in a discussion, let's say for instance, I'm busy talking to Jasper now, and every time he agrees with me and he says yes, 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 then every time he does that, that screen pops up like that, and it's a disturbance for the noise. So if you're going into a meeting and somebody else is busy doing the presentations, and instead of you saying yes, yes, yes every time, just nod your head. Because then the people can see that you're in agreement with what you're saying. You see, so you don't need to always have to use verbal communication. You can use non-verbals just as effectively in a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, I think if I can just go back a bit regarding what you said about the meetings and filling on your cell phone and everything. I think it's even in a one-on-one meeting at, let's say, a coffee shop or your office. I mean, I see a lot of people tend to play with their cell phones because, I mean, that's really just addiction that you play with. But it's in the office, it's already annoying. But on a Zoom, it's really, I mean, it's really frustrating because it's only you and that one person speaking to each other. You've got each other attention, and if you start filling on a cell phone or being distracted from somebody coming into your room or something, I mean, it's just like I said. I think I agree with you. It's very disrespectful, and it's even more important now with doing online meetings that you actually focus on that specific person that you're speaking to.
Yeah. And I think
but then again, but then again, online meetings that I found is actually becoming a lot more productive because you don't drive out to coffee shops or people don't drive into your office. You have your meeting, you have a little chat, you have your meeting, and then you have your goodbye. And the meeting is over. You can jump on right there onto the new meeting. So you can actually fit in a lot more work in that time. And I'm not saying one-on-one meetings are always great. Me and I see each other a lot on Zoom, but also a lot in one-on-one meetings. We make sure we see each other frequently. And there's nothing that beats actually personal relationships. And you can't really keep that up on a Zoom meeting or a Skype meeting, but it's in a general work sense. It's actually, I think I found it's actually better. I've found more productivity from doing that than on the normal course of meetings. Thank for everybody watching. I see there's a lot of people that joined in. Just please shout where you're from. I see somebody from Cape Grand Centre is here as well. I just spoke to him this morning as well. So hi, Peter. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. If any of you guys, there's an attorney on here as well. If you have found any valuable tips that you use Zoom or Skype, please share it with us. Some ethics. We're talking all about ethics and also the actual use of the programs. So if you have any ethical tips or tools that we can share or that you can share with us right here, please do that. Heinrich, do you have any other ethical kind of tools or tips?
Yeah, one more thing that I just want to mention as well is a really nice function on Zoom is it's got the option to record your meetings as well, which is really, really nice, especially if you've got bigger type of meetings with board members and stuff like that. And instead of having to have a secretary that you need to sit and make notes, you can press the button and record that session. Then afterwards, you can actually just take that file and just email it through to the people so they've got a copy of the meeting itself. But I think it's just, especially with smaller type of meetings, just to ask permission, if you can record the meeting so the people are aware that whatever is being said is being recorded as well. And I think it's always nice because we normally, when we've got meetings with clients, let's say for instance, I meet a new client today, then afterwards I would maybe send them an email with a summary of everything that we discussed to say, okay, these are the action steps that you need to take and these are the action steps that I need to take. Where with recordings, it makes it much easier because you can actually send the guy a copy of the meeting, what you guys discussed, and still together with that, you even still write an email of just some action points. But I think just to record a meeting just straight off the bat without telling somebody that they're being recorded, I think is a bit disrespectful. So I think there's just something out there that we need to be aware of, that there's a good thing to record the meetings, but we must just get permission to do it as well.
Yeah, it's like an old school in a boardroom meeting that you just start recording the meeting without anybody knowing that. And I think it's just a replacement of that, the new world way of recording without anybody's notice. So I think that's a very important point to make it. But I found as well, like you said, you recording the client meetings, I found that it's a good replacement for minutes of the meeting. So it's replaced somebody afterwards in a bigger kind of scheme of business that need to do minutes of the meetings. It's actually a nice replacement of just sending the minutes of the meetings in the form of a Zoom recording. So I think it's a nice modern way of keeping and everything is very clear because it's not even rewritten or retyped minutes of a meeting. It's actually the real deal, actual meeting that took place. So yeah, I agree with you. It's a good tool.
Yeah, one thing that I also, or just 2 tips that I've got here that I made a note about as well, is especially for big talkers, I think in the time that we're living in now, I think the introverts are loving this period that we're in at the moment because they can just be behind the computer 8 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock at night, and reappear again, and then they've had the nicest day ever. Where people who are extroverts, they miss the social interaction. So I think we need to be sensitive on these type of meetings as well, as not to take over conversations and just let rip and just talk like for 20 minutes non-stop without giving the other person the opportunity to say something as well. Unless if it's a business meeting and you obviously have to discuss stuff, but I think when it comes to the social aspect, just to maybe when you start the meeting, just ask like an icebreaker type of a question. What's the highlight of your week? What was the best recipe that you tested the past week or something? Just keep it lighthearted, and then after that, just jump into whatever you need to do, because otherwise you're going to be sitting for maybe like an hour talking about a lot of nonsense where you're supposed to be actually working.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's easier to on a Zoom call to actually keep to your specific agenda, as long as everybody up front know exactly what the meeting is all about. So, and probably will replace a lot of corporate meetings that tends to keep on for hours. And now you can actually just stick to your specific points, and you can actually just tick it off and there you go.
Thank you for watching. Just a quick reminder to grab your gift bag for entrepreneurs in the link below. It's a gift bag for entrepreneurs to the value of 57,000 Rand, free of charge. All you need to do is activate it. Part of that gift bag for entrepreneurs is a voucher of 3 months for 3 months free accounting services from a company, Dryk Holdings. All you need to do is activate the gift bag voucher in the link below, and we will be in contact with you as soon as you've done that.